Hi everyone. So this week I'm going to do something a little different with the week's help because I'm separating it out into different important concepts that are sometimes difficult for students using Excel. Because a lot of students don't use Excel, and most of my students over the years have had trouble with Excel. So this particular one is about what's called absolute referencing, or referencing cells, or cell referencing. So I'm going to go to page, and this is where you should use the ebook. I'm going to go to page 338, and in page 338 at the bottom here, it talks about referencing. So there's two kinds of referencing. One is called relative and one is called absolute. So relative referencing means that the value within that cell can change. So if I go into Excel here, and you'll notice, for example, here's a total, and you'll notice it says B6, and then you'll notice here it says C6, and you'll notice here it says D6. That is what's called relative referencing, which means that as I change the value in here, it will change relative to that particular value. Now, the second concept is absolute referencing, and that's an important concept because that means that the cell or the formula will, and you may want to go look at the formulas information, the formula will look at only that particular cell. So in that particular case, you're going to see in task 9 in here, and I just put numbers in. These numbers are not the real numbers, so just understand that I'm going to have a total in F8, and that total is not going to change. But the total or the trend that's in F4, 5, 6, and 7, 8, or 5 and 6 and 7, well, let's do that. 5, 6, and 7 will be, let me just put some numbers in here. Again, these numbers don't matter. The idea is that in G4, you're going to use this formula where you're going to look at some trends. You're going to look at some relative amounts of values here. And what you're looking for is a percent of the total sales for the region. So you want that F8 to be absolutely referenced, which means that when I fill in the formula going down 4, 5, and 6, F8 will stay fixed. That value will stay fixed, but the values for F4, F5, and F7 in the numerator will change. That's what those dollar signs means. So if I choose that, you'll see it's like that. Now if I fill down, what you'll notice is that the F5, that's a relative reference, and then that is an absolute reference. So that value will always be in the denominator, but the numerator value will be a little different. I know this is a little bit more math than maybe you wanted, but again, this is some of the power and understanding what the difference is between relative referencing and absolute cell referencing.